Can you? Yeah, okay.
Was a lot, my keys are lost, I'm reeking of beer. Well, I'm not fussed, no, I've had a good night. The cheap drinks, the good friends, the bright lights. I've been out here living my nightlife. The whole time you haven't crossed my mind. And my friends said you are the right type, and you made it pretty clear that right. Tomorrow's headspins be alright, 'cause I'm starting a new chapter. I've had enough, yeah, enough. I've had enough, I've had you want it, I've had enough, enough, I've had enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Frisbee heads and muggles, welcome to the men's division here at the European Ultimate Championships. I am Liam Grant and I am joined by
Luke Tobizovic.
Luke Tobizovic. I was going to nail that one, but I thought I'd let you off. And we are here at the surface of the sun. It appears that way anyway. We're at the rubber pitches. It's the men's division. España taking on Poland. And I couldn't have asked for a better co-commentator. Luke, you're an Englishman and a Polish man. Which you divide more?
So I guess I call myself a Polish man. My heritage wins out strong through my family. But I was born and raised in England. So push comes to shove, I guess I'm Polish, but I'm very much claimed to be a European citizen. So
yeah. One thing these teams have in common is they both got smushed by the Irish team earlier on in this event. I think it's the only game both teams have played, actually. No, Spain would have played yesterday as well. They lost to Denmark in a tight game, but yeah, Spain falling to Ireland 15-5 earlier today. Poland losing 15-1.
yeah, they had a lot of difficulty not throwing into the turf, on their own words. So I think they had a lot of personal errors that they're looking to eliminate today, and this should be a much more interesting game, I think.
Yeah, Spain having a tougher game against Ireland as well. Actually, I think the conditions might suit Spain here. It is incredibly hot. It's the middle of the day. It's getting close to 40 degrees, particularly on this turf field. That rubber turf kind of heats up. You could fry an egg on the ground right now.
You can feel it as you walk onto the turf field. The heat coming up from the turf field is hotter than the heat coming down. So, yeah. Luckily, it's the only turf field here at the European Championships. The rest are, I think you'll agree with me, Liam, beautiful grass pitches.
Yeah, and you said you're probably familiar with some of these Polish players. One name that sticks out to me, number 49, Dobanowski. Tell me a little about him or what you know.
So he captained the men's team that competed at the World Championships in 2016. And he runs a tight ship from that point of view. And so he's bringing that experience of sort of running the team to his play and to his line calling for his line. Also to look out for is Michał Dul, number 33. He's from the World Games team that competed in 2017 when they were held in Wrocław in Poland.
Is he any relation to the duel on the Eurostars team?
They are man and wife.
Ah, okay. I was thinking just that. I'm excited to see her play. I think we have two Polish players on the Eurostars tour this year.
There are indeed. There is also, so there's Paulina Dul, who is Michał Dul's wife, and there is also Grażyna Chlebicka. She's not here this week. She was concentrating on beach in the early part of this season and then the club season after that. But it looks like we are almost ready to get underway here. Poland are in white, pulling from our right-hand side, and here we go.
Yeah, that's our Lord Saviour Jesus Christ with the pull. As he's affectionately known out in Ireland, comes over to the siege limit quite often. Usually to gamble, predominantly, play online poker is, I understand, his full-time profession. But it is Spain who are now on offense. Ruben San Jose on the sideline, wearing the green cap. Working down the far sideline at the moment. Nice little give goes, keeping nice and safe, Sergio Diaz. Still just getting some small up the lines, keeping possession. No need to swing the disc, just keep jamming in the jammo. Oh, and two players lay out, and looks like it's a turn.
It is a turn. Excellent work there by number 43, Michał Schiller for Poland in the red cap. So picking up the disc and taking over. In the bottom corner of the end zone, there's a slight breeze that might jam it into that sideline a little bit. But yeah, we've got coming out with a vertical stack. Little flood across. Michał Schiller, the D player, picking up the disc now. Spain have tightened up nicely here in the corner. A great swing from Poland to take it out wide. Big disc going up here. Bit of a hospital pass. It's sitting up there. Albert Nowakowski underneath it. Couldn't pick it up. Turnover.
Yeah, that first possession from Spain, they really kind of crammed it in the cram hole, just trying to go down this near sideline. It felt he should have used the width of the pitch more. Let's see if they try to do the same thing, which they essentially are doing. Alvaro Monterde. And they get a quick shot to the end zone. That is a fantastic goal from Alvaro Monterde, the man from Madrid. And yeah, an offensive hold from Spain, but didn't look that tidy at times. Certainly their first possession was, they struggled to use the full width of the field, struggling to swing, but that a little more like the Spanish offense I'm used to, the quick give-go action.
Yeah, I think they made the most of Poland's confusion after the turnover, got a couple of quick breaks out and just spread the play across the field. So unlike their first play where they were jamming it up the sideline, they managed to spread it across the field this time for a relatively easy score going in there. Poland struggled, I think, they got the width, but then just a poor execution on the huck meant that there were enough Spanish players underneath it to kill any chance of them getting it.
So it is Ricardo Marquez with the pull, the man from Tenerife.
Number 21 for Poland, who's not on our roster, so we won't name him for now. Fielding the pull there. Michał Zygmunt with a great layout to keep the disc alive for Poland. Continues through to Kamil Filip. Ooh. Tried to get a break off into the inside of the field there and did not come off.
So Ricardo Marquez picking up the disc, wearing the 99 jersey. You might have seen him play with Portuguese team Bufa, one of the stars of beach ultimate in Europe, and not afraid to lash it as he does there. This one maybe a little too far. Unfortunate for them, and I think I pointed out Poland playing for a world spot here at the European Ultimate Championships.
They are indeed. I'm not sure that they were aware of it coming into the tournament, so it's quite a late announcement, although it has been in the championship appendix for a number of years now. They actually have quite a development team here, so there are maybe 5 or 6 players who are continuing on from previous years, and the rest are a lot of new up-and-coming players from the junior programs. So they're looking to build on that and hopefully win themselves a spot at the World Championships next year. Bit of an overthrow there from Poland on the swing pass. Number 20, Witold Zaborowski, giving a good layout, but unfortunately Spain take possession about 10 yards outside the end zone.
Yeah, it will be Pedro Vasquez. Gets the nice low inside break off to Ricardo. Kind of static at the moment, wants a shot to the break side. Gets the easy open side under. Bouncing around in a small space, the big man. But Spain just doing better at retaining possession, something Poland have struggled with in the early stages of this game. Oh, and a drop disc.
I think you cursed them, Liam. Big disc going up here from Poland, trying to get an early shot off after the turnover. Great block there by number 2, Pedro Marcot. Vasquez Marcot.
Yeah, looks a bit tired after that one. I walked to the shop earlier, which is maybe half a kilometer away, and I was dead after doing that. It feels high 30 degrees anyway, particularly on this field. So that's going to have a huge impact on this game. Who can handle the heat better? See actually a lot of the Spanish players with umbrellas on the far sideline. I think the Irish team had maybe 15 umbrellas or so. When they huddled up in timeouts, they encased themselves in a big cocoon.
I think they're a very experienced team and know their limitations, heat perhaps being one of them.
Yeah, an umbrella, a vital piece of equipment for all ultimate tournaments for several reasons, but here, providing some shade from the sun.
Yeah, we've had a sort of an inconsistent breeze that's been blowing through the day. Make the disc pop up uncertainly at times, but I'd expect both these teams to be able to cope with it quite well.
And we see a kind of a zone look, or at least a junky defense from the Polish. And this was their offensive point. So it's interesting to see an O-line come out and do a bit of zone. They had time to set up after that hook. Was incomplete and out the back. But Marquez has his sleeves rolled up. He's ready to do some work. Try and get this goal upwind. And still in their own end zone. Very physical defense from the Polish. Oh, and there they get the slam D. So now parked outside the end zone.
Yeah, Michał Zygmunt there with the poach D. I think it was quite a clammy sort of... Oh, timeout taken. So Poland looking to bank this point early on. Timeout in point number 2 of this game. But given the heat, I don't think anyone will blame them for trying to get their heads back in before they put this shot into the end zone.
Well, it's obvious to me the offense isn't clicking at the moment. I know it's very, we've only had 2 points. Second one hasn't even been scored yet, so it's hard to make a judgment, but it looked to me like the offense wasn't clicking. This is a big opportunity now, getting to this back outside the end zone. They want to figure out what they're going to do. I won't be surprised now if we see the Spanish try a little zone of their own. You see a lot of times when people call it timeout outside the end zone, the defense actually changes it up quite a lot, forcing them into a different kind of strategy. Hello to all watching. We're on camera now. Yeah, repping for Ireland. I want to shout out to one of our volunteers, Fabricio, my #1 volunteer.
Just sitting over here, chilling in the shade, working hard.
Cheering for España. Big shout out to all our volunteers. Luke, you're doing some volunteering as well.
I am, yes. I am scorekeeping this week, and I've been helping out here and there with a couple of other things. It's been an interesting start to the tournament, but it's been a lot of fun scorekeeping. I've never done it. I've done a lot of playing, I've done a lot of organising, but I thought I'd hit the volunteer crew and spend my summers in the sunshine.
Yeah, it's definitely sunny here. Back down in the trenches. After being a kind of a tournament director, a lot of big events, you've come back here to rub shoulders with the hard-working foot soldiers.
Indeed, better get my head back on. I'll be doing some work for the World Championships next summer, and thought I'd get an insight into every aspect of the tournament. So I'll be working here as a volunteer, and then at the European Youth Championships later this summer, I'll be a venue manager, looking after one of the 2 venues there. Yeah, so very much looking forward to spending my summer with an ultimate theme.
Yes, we'll also be providing coverage in Wrocław for the European Youth Ultimate Championships, so stay tuned for that one. How is the Polish youth scene?
The Polish youth scene is burgeoning, but here we've got a vertical stack in the end zone, 3 handlers. Spain have clammed. Ooh, fantastic bid there to try and reach around number 20, Witold Zaborowski, who scored the point there. So Poland leveling up, 1-1.
I've seen that happen so much in commentary, watching games where teams call timeout outside the end zone. They set up an end zone play, but the defense isn't marking on scene. That goes out the window after about stall 2, and usually everyone moving, often you actually find a little space. So they kept their cool well there. Poland waited for the open throw. It was a tight window, but they got it off, and that is their first goal, tying up the game 1-1.
Yeah, Poland will be coming out on defense now, so we'll get a new look from them in terms of how they set up. Looks like it's our friend Jesus pulling again, number 34 there in the white shirt. Poland have definitely got a couple of plays up their sleeve. If you notice now, they are all wearing what we would like to call tactical wristbands. They have their playbook on there, so that when they call a particular play, they know exactly what it is they're going to be doing. Hitting the American football style setup there.
Yeah, it's interesting, almost like cyborgs, very futuristic wristbands. So Spain back on offense now. Nice crossfield pass to open this, fumbled once or twice by Ruben San Jose. Now they have a shot to the end zone. Oh, and a great defensive play. The defense from Poland has been sensational.
That was number 95, Jan Kopiczko for Poland there with a great physical defense jumping out.
Yeah, I think if their defense was as good as their offense, it'd be an incredible team, Poland. They have athleticism. They're not afraid to throw themselves around. But
yeah, I think it's the offensive heads that might be missing in terms of keeping their cool and keeping the disc. Big shot here from number 95. Just got the layout block, just put out the big disc. Well read and grabbed there by, oh, there is a call on the play here.
That looked as clean as a whistle to me now. We're sitting down, we have a low viewpoint here in our commentary booth, the dugout.
Should get a little replay here. So it was close. The Spanish guy got a hand to it before the Polish guy. And it looks like the strip was called by Spain and accepted by Poland.
Yeah, great spirit there. You can see in the replay, I thought he was calling a foul. I was like, I don't see the foul. But then you actually saw, he did seem like he had control of the disc. So incredible play from the Spanish player to catch that first. It's like to see in the early stages of this game, some good spirit. Sets the tone for everyone to play with respect. And now, moving down the field, Sergio Diaz. Back to Alvaro Monterde, who scored the first goal for Spain, and they almost score a second, and another flying Polish player.
Yeah, this time maybe not quite as clean as he would have liked. There was definitely some contact made there.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to get there at all to this disc anyway.
Yeah, a quick check of the replay here to see what happened. So the disc was maybe overthrown by the Spanish player, who changed the line of his run, and the Polish player had already looked like he'd already committed to trying to get a pressure D rather than a play on the disc. So
yeah, I'm not sure if the Spanish player would have got it anyway, but you come flying across and you initiate some contact. It's very hard for the Spanish player not to call it, and then it's hard to argue against it. But I think we're going to get the right call here. Oh, it's an injury. You see the WFDF hand signals coming into play here, which is great on the showcase field. Let us know what's going on.
Absolutely. Us and the crowd that is slowly gathering. We have a strong Polish contingent in the stands there. You'll be able to hear them in the background every so often, I'm sure, cheering for Polish defense.
So I know in the past, I think Poland put a lot of emphasis on their mixed national team. How's that shaped up this year? Is it?
So so in preparation for the World Games in 2017, Poland worked hard for about 2 years before that on stacking their mixed team. Everyone was keen to compete for spots on that mixed team. Since then, players have enjoyed breaking out into their men's and women's teams again. So there's been a much bigger spread of the talent. And I think that's carried on through now. So there's been a spread now from the beach scene as well as the grass scene. So the teams playing here, there are very few players who played both beach and grass, and a number of the teams have sort of picked particular tournaments to concentrate on. So the mixed team concentrated on the beach championships earlier this year. The men's team concentrated on the beach championships and did very well, winning a silver medal there. So very pleased with that performance. Overthrow there from Poland means that Spain are picking it up just outside their end zone for another shot on the offense.
Oh, and Jesus fell over, but rose again to get that disc.
Indeed, miracles do happen. So Poland get it straight back again, taking their time to set up here.
You usually get a layout D, but you got a stand-up D there, where he was originally lying down and stood up to get the defensive play.
Not everyone can do that, Liam. Not everyone can do that. So Poland find themselves with a bit more space at the moment, which is nice. They're not quite as crammed in, but a missed cue there, and Spain take over again.
It's number 43, Juan Carlos Fernandez. So we've got a mix of lots of different Spanish players here, some from Barcelona, Madrid, the Canary Islands. Often you see maybe one of the mixed their men's teams all from the islands or all from the mainland, but they have a good mix here. And they had a very tight game against Denmark, who are one of the favourites to win this pool, but unfortunately just kind of fell apart this morning against the Irish. That is Unai. To the forever cutting Alvaro. Back to Juan Carlos. He's probably the best beard on the field, I'd have to say.
I think I'd have to agree with you. And with his shaved head, he has a very strong, distinctive look there.
Yeah, and that is an easy goal for the Spanish. Polish defense looked so intense at the start of that point, but you wonder if they got tired legs, or even the last goal looked very easy, casual almost for the Spanish.
Yeah, I think the Polish players had started lagging behind their Spanish counterparts, and it showed right at the end of that point where there was no pressure on that defense, and it was just an easy breakthrough to put the score in.
So what kind of weather can we expect in Wrocław in summertime for EYUC?
Well, to be honest with you, my memories of summer in Poland have often been as hot as it is now. I spent most of my childhood summers there, and we'd get warnings on the radio not to go out between 11 and 3 because it was over 40 degrees. So there is a chance of an extremely hot summer, but perhaps with an early heat wave like this, it might die off by the time we get to August, and we'll have some slightly cooler weather. But it's certainly an improvement on our British summers. I think you might agree there, Liam.
Yeah, but things are heating up here in the men's division as Spain take the lead at, I believe it's 2-1 to España at the moment.
It is indeed. All the points have involved turnovers. We haven't had a clean offensive hold yet, so perhaps we'll see one here from Poland. Do a lot to calm their nerves and bring them in. Jan Staniewicz there being called off the disc to allow one of the main Polish handlers to pick it up and get things moving there. Michał Zygmunt on the brick mark. Spain with a clamming defense here. Forcing the disc there on the swing, and the second look for it was just a bit too low for the Polish player to pick up, and Spain looking to punch in their third goal. And take an early break here.
Yeah, they waste no time slamming that one in. Ricardo Marquez picks it up straight away to Pedro Vasquez, and the score is 3-1 Spain at the moment. And this is a make or break game for both of these teams, I feel, if they want to do well in this tournament, particularly if Poland want to qualify for World Ultimate Augusta Championships taking place next year, because it's a tough group. I don't think it's actually any of the top teams. Maybe Ireland you could argue is a semis team, but this group doesn't have the likes of the Germanys, the Italys, the Great Britons, but they don't really have a weak team. Poland coming in, I believe, is the bottom seed, but even the likes of Ireland, one of the lower seeds. Belgium is the top seed, but I wonder how they're going to fare against the Irish.
Yeah, Belgium were coming off a fantastic 7th place, I believe, at the World Championships back in 2016, and their men's team have been reaping the rewards of that with a strong recruitment program since then. So we'll see what look Poland come out here. They've had both vertical and horizontal stacks, most of the time flooding across for plays. Michał Dul now on the disc. Michał Dul, one of the few, big disc here from number 30, Michał Dul to a completely open Polish player. Poland with a big yardage gainer. Number 87 offloads the disc to number 1. Jan Hammerschmidt swinging to Michał Dul again. Quick swing across. Oh, great defense there by the Spanish player. Bobbled out of the Polish player's hand, and they were tight enough to stop the second attempt at the catch.
So now the Spanish back on offense. Francisco Romano getting the swing across. Marquez bounces double side. He never looks off those deep shots. This one is going to come in fiery hot, and the receiver just can't get there. I think he just ripped that too hard. Got to put a little more touch and allow your receiver to run onto it.
Yeah, just a slight overthrow. I think the wind was behind him there as well, so that carried the disc a bit further than he would have liked. But Poland coming out again with a vertical stack here. They've been flooding across and isolating a single player when they're coming out here, so we'll see if they do a similar thing or if it's more of a classic cutting sequence. Michal Dul now on the disc was one of the players who competed for Poland at the World Games when they were hosted in Wrocław 2 years ago. And so he brings a lot of experience and calmness to this team that is comprised mostly of up-and-coming players from the junior programs and from some of the club teams that have arisen in Poland in the last few years. There's a line call here to work out whether the disc was in or out. Our replay was slightly inconclusive with a tight angle.
So I do know other results in this group. Denmark beat Belgium 15-12. So it is Denmark and Ireland, the only two undefeated teams in the group now. We'll be streaming their matchup tomorrow. Should be a spicy one. As Marco Bianchini, number 9, is actually from just outside Milan. So Italian player playing for the Spanish.
There's a pick call on the play here.
What's the hottest ultimate you've played? Is your venue or temperature-wise? I'm speaking hot anyway.
Temperature-wise, was back in 2011. We had the World Beach Championships in Lignano Sabadoro near Venice in Italy. And day one, the schedule was as was, and we had a midday game against Australia where the thermometer broke 40 degrees. And after that, they cancelled all our daytime games and we played into the evenings. And that was blisters on your feet without sand socks weather. Here.
I was there actually as well. The first time playing for Ireland. I'd only been playing the sport maybe 9 months at that stage. Played for a pretty terrible Irish men's beach team. But unlike that team, this Spanish team are looking good. As you get another goal there from Alvaro.
Yep.
Mendy.
2 breaks to the good, 4-1 to Spain. Taking an early lead here in this game. Poland not able to consistently keep the disc and move it around so far. I think they've had less personal errors with the throwing, which they'll be pleased about. But Spain have had quite a sort of a mixed defense where they're poaching quite a bit, killing the lanes for Poland to continue the disc. So perhaps Poland will be looking to switch things up. They're all glancing at their tactics sheets, confirming what play has just been called by the coach.
So explain these wristbands to me in greater detail.
So have you ever seen a game of American football there, Liam?
I have.
So the quarterback has an extremely long wristband on which he has 99 plays, and he will then use that to call something for his players. So the equivalent is here. They have a number of plays and tactical setups all written out and for them on their wristbands, which they can lift and look at to confirm what it is they're doing in case they can't remember.
So this is not an electronic device?
It's not an electronic device,
okay.
No, it's a piece of paper, hopefully with some pretty colours to make life easy. So an inbounds pull from Spain, misfielded there by number 16, Jan Staniewicz. Spain have tightened up nicely here in the corner. Number 20, Witold Zaborowski, swinging the disc nicely. Longer shot here to an open Polish player. Nice easy goal. They'll feel much better about this offense. And a quick point to settle their nerves a bit.
Yeah,
4-2 Spain.
He set up that deep cut really well, came hard under and then bounced back, had a little eye contact with the thrower. So everyone on the same page. And that was kind of a same third hook, which is tricky to do at times, but executed really well. A lot of outside in, makes it easy for the receiver to read.
Yeah, and Spain have had a habit of when they have an undercut from Poland, they will cover it hard under and then they'll poach in the lane for a second or a split second to try and make that next throw more difficult. And if Poland are heads up enough to make use of that mini poach every time, then I think they'll have a lot of joy moving the disc downfield.
Yeah, I think that the deep game could be a good option for Poland. It was worked once or twice in this game already, but they seem like they have the throws, they have the athleticism. It seems like the small ball short game is maybe where they lack experience and concentration sometimes.
So Jesus is back on with the pull. Clearly a strong D-line player for Poland.
Yeah, so first time I met Jesus was at a Siege Limerick event. He arrived a day early for Siege Limerick, then it got cancelled because of 3 days of snow. But even before then, he was playing, I think, maybe 5 or 6 games, online games of poker at the same time. A lot of high stakes as well, and just clicking and swirling through all the games, which is impressive to see. So he definitely has a good level of concentration and understanding.
Poland coming out here with their umbrella zone, which is very much a containment zone, trying to frustrate the Spanish offense a little bit. Looks like they've transitioned now to man defense.
Yeah, I think Spain do love their umbrellas. If anything, the umbrellas are helping them. What you want is maybe a baby oil defense where you just lather them and they'll cook in the heat.
Although give it a couple more minutes, I'm sure hands will be sweaty all over the place.
Yeah, I actually threw for the first time when I got here yesterday on the main showcase field, and I forgot how much sweaty hands impact your throwing. Been quite a while since I've thrown in the heat. But these Spanish players, well able for it. And, you know, this zone, I don't know if this zone defense is working out too well for the Polish as they get a goal there. Another brilliant play by Ruben San Jose, been one of the top players for the Spanish side.
Yeah, I think Poland started with a zone, transitioned to man, and then when they're down, after the foul was scored about midfield, then there was a bit of confusion over who was marking who, I believe, and so there was a lot of free Spanish players in the end zone, and Poland were playing catch-up the whole time during the latter half of that point.
Yeah, they did not transition well, really, out of that zone defense. I think almost kind of suits Spanish style of play. They like little poppy give-go passes, which often work out quite well once playing against the zone defense. But it's good to try something else, you know. A wise man, Seamus Murray, once told me you should never lose a game without playing zone.
Wise words indeed. And I think that as the sport matures, it'll definitely be a case of you shouldn't lose a game without playing at least 2 zones. I think people are expanding their playbooks and their tactical setups to respond to different team situations. I think we're all emulating of what we've seen from some of the US teams, where first half of games is often close while there's a lot of analysis going on, and then those teams will take their experience and build a defense based on the offense they've seen in the first half. So the more difference to change. Nice crossfield hammer here, but it's going to be contested. Great second attempt there from number 7 from Poland, Kamil Filip, reading the defense, but unfortunately not able to catch that disc.
Yeah, Pedro Vasquez getting up high, but they get it back, Poland.
Fantastic run through D here, and Poland go for the shot. Bookends for number 21. Not on our roster, we'll have to find out who he is, because he's doing very well.
Yeah, that was a great offensive hold from Poland. Tried a spicy hammer, didn't work out, but got the defensive play back. And I like that quick transition offense from Poland, because I think they have the athleticism, they have the deep throws. Let's just get someone going deep quickly, catch them asleep. But yeah, I think Ricardo Marquez and number 2, Pedro Vasquez, have a lot of responsibility on this D-line for the Spanish team. And I think their success in the tournament will be based on how well those 2 players play. And I think Ricardo got a little caught out there. They turned over the disc and wasn't ready for the deep shot. Shout out to Focus Ultimate. On the sideline we have Quentin, the famous French photographer, who seems to be melting. Looks like a little bit of slimy escargot slithering in the hot Hungarian sun.
So we've just got some information from one of the Polish players there. Number 21 is Bartek Mikołajak for Poland. So we can put a name to a number now when he does more good things for Poland.
Yeah, I was talking to Jesus before the game, the player, not the deity, and I asked him any interesting facts, and he said number 21 once vomited a crisp hole. That was, and I asked for anything else, any more information, not really biting on that piece of information. He's like, no, that's all the interesting information I have about this Polish team, so do what you want with that, but that's what they gave me. So now we see a zone again for the Polish. Maybe it looks a small bit different. Maybe it looks like a 3-2-2, but Spain doing what they do best, and that is keep the disc moving fast. And seamlessly cutting through this zone from Poland.
Well, the Poland have stuck with it now, all the way to their end zone. So hoping that the cramped space towards the end zone side of the field will force Spain into a mistake.
I love when teams stay in zone defense all the way to the end zone. I think it's probably the best place to play zone. Smallest space, doesn't allow people to play their end zone offense. I'm a big fan of holding the zone all the way.
Some good swinging here from Spain, really finding the space, making the Polish players work hard to try and get that block.
See the overhead throw there. It's likely in these kind of zones, always see a nice break backhand. They look so clinical in their zone offense, the Spanish. I'll be very surprised if Poland bring out another zone look again from their D-line.
I think the transition from zone to man would suit them well, but only if it's an early transition. So they can look to frustrate the initial pull play from Spain before they really clamp down on that on man-to-man coverage. That, you know, early on in that first couple of points generated a couple of Ds for them. So it'd be nice to see some more athletic play coming out there.
Yeah, their defense, their person defense looks terrifying at times. They're really tight, really athletic, putting a lot more pressure on the throwers than that zone defense. I think playing zone against the Spanish is not always the best idea. In my experience, they're just very good at it. But I do like when they stick to zone the whole way through. I think often you'll find that teams aren't used to playing it. They're like, oh, they're going to transition to a match defense at some stage. You get all the way to the end zone. They're like, oh, they're playing zone, and they don't really know what to do. They don't play against the zone inside the end zone very often. So it sometimes catches teams out. I know it's something we do with my team Pelts in Ireland. Not that we need to talk about Ireland any more than we are. I'm sure both these teams want to forget about the Irish for the time being.
Indeed, work their frustrations out here and then look to get some revenge maybe later on in the tournament if they're lucky. So Spain coming out here with their own zone. Poland going over the top this time, spreading the disc. Foul called by one of the players. I believe it's the Spanish player calling a foul on the Polish player. Just discussing about where the physicality came from. I think one of the dangers when you do play that short popping game through a zone is that there are a lot of players in a very small space. And there's a lot of opportunity for incidental contact. But nice spreading the disc here from Poland, moving the zone around.
Very different zone compared to the Polish one. It seems like a 1-3-3, almost kind of rapid. One player in the form of Iker de Prado running around, putting the force on, and three Spanish players almost in a wall in front of him.
Spain forced the turnover with a mistimed IO throw.
Yeah, you can see the zone kind of trapping a little bit once it gets to the sideline. Made that a difficult IO break throw. I did like that zone look from Poland, actually. Or from España, and they call it timeout. I think that's their first timeout of the game. Each team taking one so far.
Yeah, I think all the teams this week will be trying to use all their timeouts during the game, just to try and get as much rest as possible. Today is 5 degrees hotter than yesterday already, and I think the prediction is for this to continue through the week, if not get even hotter.
And we saw, if you follow US Ultimate College Nationals, just I think it was 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3, they actually had enforced stoppages, I think at the 4th point and the 12th point of the game, heat stoppages, so everyone had to leave the field and go into shade for 4 or 5 minutes, and that was enforced by USAU. And it's interesting to see. It made it weird watching the game. You're like, what's going on there? Just everyone seemed to leave and go to the shade. But yeah, it's similar heat level, something that's not being done here. But I think you're right in saying every team is going to use their timeout. Now, watching the Spain-Ireland game this morning, as soon as the timeout, Ireland were gone to the shade. Straight away, they were hiding from the sun. Both teams staying out here in the hot field. I would have probably, if I was in charge of the team, I'd be going into that grandstand, into the shade, just getting a little break from the heat, get some water into you. Use that timeout just as much to talk tactics as recover the body.
Yeah, I mean, recovering the body and recovering the mind at this point is probably pretty important. All right, I think the first thing to go won't be your legs, it won't be your breathing, it'll be your headspace in terms of your decision making and what you choose to do. One of the Polish ladies came up to me during her game yesterday, came off the sideline and said that she feels like she's sort of, her brain is melted because she's just throwing discs into the turf and has no real clue what's going on. She's very dazed. So the heat is definitely plays a big factor here at the European Championships.
Yeah, you feel your mental capacity dwindles as the sun beats down on you. But yeah, 6-3 now. Seems like Poland, after the first few points, have kind of found their flow, but need to get breaks back if they want to win this game.
Yeah, it looks like they'll be coming out with a match defense, which plays into their hands a bit more than the zone does. So we'll have a bit of a man-to-man matchup between the two teams and see who wins out.
Going back to Lignano Sabadoria, which team were you playing for then? Was this GB or was this Poland?
This was Poland. This was Poland mixed. This was their first outing to a beach championship.
And who were the stars back then?
Back then, the stars were, well, apart from myself as a young gun, the stars were definitely Mikołaj Szmogul. So Smok, as he's known, he is the lead organizer of the Polish Sand Slash tournament. And a very easy defense there from Poland, snatching the disc from about 5 yards in front of the Spanish handler. Perhaps it's that heat hiding people. Big disc on up here over the Spanish players, and a great shot to the end zone by Poland. Really playing themselves back into this game. It's now 6-4 to Spain, but the momentum perhaps might be shifting here to Poland. I think they'll certainly be happy with that point.
Yeah, I think it was Zygmunt there with just the poach D, the very first pass coming out of the timeout. Not what you want to do. Ricardo Marquez throwing straight into the poach. And again, we see that deep game working for Poland. I think they've found a weakness in the Spanish side, just putting it out into space. Another high arcing disc, which is kind of a small downwind going left to right. That's what you want to do. Make it floaty, allow your Polish receiver to make a play in it. But it's all well and good scoring the row points, but Poland need to get a break here. Their defense hasn't really troubled the Spanish in the last few points.
Yeah, you've had me reminiscing about the Polish team back from 2011. So there is one player playing today who was on that team, and that's Michał Dul, number 33 for Poland. He's been the tournament organizer of all the major tournaments that happened in Wrocław, as well as playing for the World Games team. So he's been a consistent, constant presence in the Polish ultimate scene. He is currently the president of the Polish Ultimate Association, so he's heavily involved in all things ultimate for Poland.
He's kind of like the Zoltan of Polish ultimate, would you say?
I would not say that, Liam. I'm sorry to say it. He is the mirror image of the Zoltan of Polish ultimate.
The opposite, yeah. There's a bit of satire there on this midday heat. Spain again strolling down the field. Very, very different offenses from both these teams. Spain's just lots of short, quick passes. Poland are kind of launching it deep. Pablo Dorta, Alberto. And we see looking for the quick give go, but nice kind of buzz switch from the Polish stop the initial handler up the line, but again they keep moving, and that is a beautiful high release, buttery backhand into the front of the end zone. A goal for Spain. Poland cannot get the disc off them at the moment.
No, I think Spain's lateral cutting in front of the disc and their give-go play really keeps that disc alive and stops the Polish players from having to set on a particular side. So although they are trying to help each other out, like we saw here, it really opens up the break side option. So the force here came across to try and stop the quick run into the end zone, and it left a really easy swing into the end zone.
I think about 3 players came across. One poach, 2 poaches up the line, and the handler mark coming across as well. And I think sometimes people underestimate making a hard cut in ultimate. If you don't get the disc, sometimes you drag players away like that. So although the initial Spanish player who cut to the front corner didn't get the goal, didn't get the stat, his cut created space for someone else. He so aggressively attacked that corner that it sucked in Polish defenders, it sucked in the mark, and allowed for the easy pass for the goal.
Oh, absolutely. No question. It's a very satisfying feeling to have 3 players come mark you and know that you've managed to open up the field for one of your teammates to have a really easy goal. So lots of credit to whoever that was in the Spanish team. So Poland looking to emulate their last couple of offense points and put another easier one in. Michał Dul on the disc now. Got blocked there, unfortunately. Great read there by number 6 from Spain, Francisco Romano.
Yeah, nice hand block. Saw in the Ireland game, they were playing a lot of flat forces and a drop from Pedro Vasquez. Last 2 points, they've had break opportunities, the Spanish D-line, but Ricardo and Vasquez making drops.
Beautiful IO backhand there from Poland for a relatively easy catch in the end zone. His marker had left him. There was a poached defense player from Spain trying to compete with that, but it was too well placed. And Poland will be pleased with getting that disc back. But still, no offensive point without a turn yet in this game. So both teams really fighting for it, and both teams still making mistakes. So far, Spain coming out the good from that. 7-5 up.
Yeah, I think the last 2 or 3 Polish offensive points, they turned over, got it back, and pretty much hooked it straight away and scored. I think actually the last 2 Spanish offenses, they've not turned over against that zone. I think. But yeah, it seems like they're just trading for now. I've been trading for the last 3 or 4 points, which probably suits the Spanish. A chance here now to take half. As you can see, the wind picking up slightly, pushing that disc back towards the Polish. So not the furthest pull ever, but Spain take off down the line. Now with a match defense from the Polish and a vertical stack from the Spanish. Oh, the tight window for that give-go pass from the handlers, and that is a beautiful scuba to open up the break side. Toddy's going to take that continuation cut.
Great force there from Jesus, though, to deny the quick breaks.
Again, now the Spanish, lots of lateral cutting, give-go in the handler space. Nobody attacking. Oh, it looked like there was an open pass just there. I think, yeah, foul being called.
Yeah, Albert Nowakovski there, number 73 for Poland, calling a foul on the Spanish player as he ran through. Uncontested in this instance, so everyone is set up again.
Yeah, this is a big moment in the game. If Spain score here, they take half. Well, a violation called. That's unfortunate. I don't think it really affected that up the line cut, but I'd say it's probably going to go back, as lots of people were not ready when the disc was touched in. So Juan Carlos Fernandez will not get that goal.
Yeah, I think the longer the game goes and the tighter you get, the more difficult it is to hear and concentrate on when the check happens. So lots of clarity from your teammates is very important there. So we'll see if they go with exactly the same play or if there's something new on the books for Spain.
Very active force there from the Polish. Juan Carlos Fernandez now, not inside the end zone. Goes for the cheeky inside pass. Muy Picante, another great goal for Alvaro Monterde.
Yeah, Spain having a lot of joy with their short ball and their quick turns to keep the disc moving and keep Poland on their toes. Poland's physical defense has reaped the more rewards in this game, but still they haven't been able to match the quick Spanish offense. So we'll see what these teams do during the halftime break to adjust. That's the key aspect, I think, of the second half play here, is if one team can adjust to the other's tactics, then we could see a change up in the momentum.
Yeah, good play from the Polish in the latter part of that first half. They're going to have to bring their A game in the second half. They want to get a win here. In a very tough pool, I think if they end up in the lower pools, which I think both these teams are likely to do now, they want to carry a win into that pool. It's very difficult. You have to finish top 2 of the lower pools in the next round if you want to make it to bracket play, which is probably paramount to the Polish to want to qualify. Had some goulash yesterday. Hungarian goulash, is that similar to Polish food you might have, or?
Yes, I guess so, although there isn't really an equivalent to goulash in Poland. The way I always describe Polish food is It's very sort of wholesome, very sort of, I'd call it homely food. So it's very staple food, right? So you get a bit of your sort of classic veg, meat dishes. There's nothing particularly spicy. There's nothing particularly exotic, but it is delicious, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah, but it is the wholesome offense of Spain that has carried them into this first half, leading the game, and it's the spicy offense of Poland which has maybe resulted in a few breaks going Spain's way. But we'll have a little mini siesta now during the half. Both teams going to shade. We're going to take a little break. Liam Grant alongside
Luke Tobiasevic.
And we'll be back in just a moment's time. Welcome back to the men's division, Field 2, better known as Mordor, as things are heating up here. Spain with an early lead against the Polish side, but they're coming out on offense from the halftime. Need to score their offensive point here and then 3 breaks if they want to win the game.
Yep, Poland in white, playing from the left, Spain on defense in red. Poland coming out with a horizontal look here. Spain with a match defense. Poland moving the disc nicely on a big disc. Lovely open space there from number 30, Mateusz Gipki. Poland putting a nice lead pass there. Little stutter step, confused the Spanish defender, and in the end, a relatively easy score for Poland.
Yeah, I think that's the best offensive point I've seen from this Polish side pretty much all week long so far. I think Gipki's been very good for them, very fast player, doing well going deep. He's not actually that tall, but definitely has some speed as we see him reset the disc there, and they set up this up the line cut very well, leave a lot of space, and again, I think if they isolate players downfield, they can win those matchups athletically.
Absolutely, and as we said just before the half, it's down to the Polish defense here to make something happen, see if they can break through that quick Spanish play. They've tried a zone, they've tried a couple of different zones, they've tried some man defense, and so far nothing has come up trumps for them, so let's see what the halftime talk brings.
Yeah, they have to sift through their playbook here, see what they can muster up. Really struggling to break the Spanish offensive line. I think they've had 1 break against them so far in the game. We're not keeping stats here, just my own mental stats. Yeah, this O-line led by Juan Carlos Fernandez. I think he did some time with Barcelona side Patatas Bravas.
Yeah, Poland currently in an arrowhead zone here. Containing the handlers quite well, pushing them back to their end zone.
If they can try and force the Spanish side to throw more overheads or maybe more deep shots, I think that's what I'll be trying to do if I was in charge of this zone. Stop them doing their small little give-goes. Doing better now to put more pressure on the thrower. There we see a little scuba to the middle of the field. And they're able to get some yards with some give-goes now. Once they break that initial arrowhead from the Polish, they gained a lot of yards. So able to do those overheads as well. And now Diego Lorenzo Jimenez, another overhead. That one, oh, it's going to work out, but a lot more pressure from the Polish defense. They didn't get a turnover there, but oh.
There is a call on the play here. I believe the goal will stand though.
Yeah, I actually like that zone defense better from the Polish. You see the shot for the goal, like they had 1 player there, that's what you want. Okay, they didn't get the turnover, but I think there's a lot of positives to take away from that defense.
No, absolutely. They contained the Spanish for the first half at that point, forced them just to play within the handlers and swing it back, and the Spanish got back to their own end zone at a couple of points during that play. But in the end, 1 overhead and then a couple of quick shots through the middle meant the Spanish broke through, and Poland were not able to stop that final shot into the end zone. Yeah, the Polish team will be looking, I think, primarily at developing their players, whilst also clearly hoping to qualify for a spot for Worlds, because that's where they would then field those developed players. If they don't get a team together, it'll be interesting to see what the program does from then. But we'll see. It's early days yet, and I think the team bids have not yet been formalized in terms of accepting team fees for Worlds. And as we all know, interest is different from putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, and talk us through some maybe the Polish sides that are doing well in men's ultimate there. Girls Stay Home, I think, is disbanded or changed names. Is that correct?
Indeed, they changed their name to The Bridge. There's a famous bridge in Wrocław where they're from. I think there'd always been a little hesitation with the name Girls Stay Home. Their youthful exuberance at finally being able to have an open team where they'd only played mixed in Poland up until then came out in the naming there, but took some feedback on board to to rename themselves to the bridge.
Nice replay there, Ricardo Marquez falling over on the pull. But now the chance to break. Going for a 3-4 offense now. We saw the D-line playing a lot of 2-5. But a long way to go. And in coffin corner here, as it is definitely going upwind. Difficult place for your offense to start.
Absolutely. Poland are cleverly just playing a zone defense here, just on the line trap. Try and contain Spain in that corner. But once they break through, they have to quickly get matched up.
But yeah, they do well to gain some yards. Yuk to Romano.
There is still a single Polish player sitting out deep, which is leaving one free Spanish player just able to get the disc, but unfortunately a bit of a misthrow there and a bit of confusion from Spain.
So as we know, the Polish O-line like to turn it over once, then pick it up and lash it. That's what we've seen so far. So
let's see what happens.
Oh, he just called a timeout.
Timeout, wow. Again, an early timeout in the second half. In the first half, Poland also had an early timeout to try and get their heads in. That time, I'm not sure it made a big difference to their game. This time, perhaps, if they can put this point away and then really come out and put some pressure on the next Spanish offense, then they might be able to play themselves back into this game. But I wouldn't be surprised, I think, in the current theme of the Polish offense, to see them set up a long play here. So set up an isolation to see somebody streaking deep. So we'll see what the timeout brings.
I'm trying to see what matchup we have next. It's actually women's power pools next. I think it looks like GB women are here. Maybe Finland, and see one or two Finnish players on that far sideline. But that would have only been decided based on results earlier. You, a GB man yourself as well. How do you think this GB women's side are going to do in the tournament?
So I don't know much about them. I know they're a much younger team. A lot of the sort of older stalwarts of the GB women's team have progressed to the Masters division, or moved through to the mixed team, for example. So it's quite a youthful team. I must confess I have not followed them at all in their preparation or this tournament. So although I'd like to think I know something more about them, there's not a huge amount. One player who I do know a lot about is Hannah Brew, number 85, I believe she is. We've played together a few years back on a couple of mixed teams, and she's gone from strength to strength since then. So she might even be captaining this team, and she'll certainly be one of the key handlers who they'll be looking to make things happen on field. Big shout out to Saskia as well on the GB women's team, who's my teammate from TBC, Bristol-based beach team, with whom we've played beach nationals and beach Euros with over the last couple of years.
And we'll switch back to a bit of Polish ultimate again, Polish men's ultimate. Pluck some more knowledge from you there.
Oh, indeed. So we were talking about Girls Stay Home, or the Bridge, as they are now called. As well as that, there are two other sort of major Polish men's teams. One is Uprising, which was probably the very first Polish men's team, just before Girls Stay Home came about. They've had their up and down seasons. I think they're currently on the ascendancy again, having had a strong recruitment again from the junior players. And on top of that, there's a Warsaw-based team called Moira, who have always sort of hovered consistently in that top three.
Moira actually went to Windmill this year. Been there, and do you know how they qualified?
I do not.
Through the picks contest. So they successfully guessed the best results of the pre-Windmill contest. So that earned them a bid for the event, and actually did pretty well, I heard. Oh, Marquez maybe just bodying out the defender there. We did see the deep shot straight away, but not working out this time.
Yeah, it was very clever play there by Marquez from Spain to read that disc well on a taller Polish player who might have had a good shot. But pressure from Poland there, high stall count throwaway from Spain, means that Poland get half the field with that huck and D play. Poland a little stuck on the sideline and jam it down that sideline without success.
You can see that the Spanish defense had Marquez just hanging back and all the other players switching to take the under, so they're really struggling to get off that line. As are Spain at this moment. The wind definitely has picked up, but it's probably more the heat that's more influential.
Yeah, I think Marquez is one of Spain's more experienced players. Putting him in that deep position is a smart idea, as it gives them a bit more experience on how to box that out. There's a foul call here with a really close layout from Spain and Poland, but all very amicable, and it looks like the Spanish player is simply gathering his wits for an uncontested foul.
Yeah, Ricardo Marquez actually, I think, had the play of the tournament at European Beach Ultimate Championships, made the #1 in the tournament highlight reel with a crazy layout catch. Safe to say, Ricardo and lots of other the Spanish Ultimate community are better on sand.
They certainly have that expertise. And a pick up for a push pass into the end zone, not completed. Perhaps a bit too rushed there from Poland, trying to get a quick score, and a timeout from Spain.
It's the second time out this point.
It is indeed. I think the heat really has hit hard in this second half. I mean, it will leave them short of timeouts in the late stage of this game, since we've only just started the second half. And time-wise, we're only 65 minutes into the game, so still over half an hour of play to go.
And talk about some elite Spanish ultimate. Goyota was also at Windmill and made it to the quarterfinals in the mixed division out of Tenerife, which I believe is where Ricardo Marquez is from, but seems to play a lot of his ultimate with the Portuguese side, Bufa, who have definitely won CFC numerous times. Big shout out to Tom Stiles, who's provided us with his magical commentary source. Unfortunately, we don't have all the player surveys there, but big up to Tom Stiles for making our job a lot easier.
Yeah, it's been something he's been working on for a couple of years now, and it's looking like quite a fluid system. I think once we manage to integrate it with the data collection and perhaps with some of the stat keeping during the game, then it'll be a fantastic resource for the commentary teams to really be able to give some insight into the game. So, I mean, coming out of this timeout, what would you look to see from Spain to see this game out? What do they need to tighten up on, do you think, Liam?
I think they just need to improve their D-line offense. They've had opportunities to break a lot in this kind of latter half of this game, or the last 20 minutes or so, and really struggled. I'd like to see them shoot to the end zone. I think the last 3 or 4 times they've had break opportunities from Poland, they haven't shot to the end zone. You need to throw the end zone to score. I think sometimes if your D-line offense isn't working that well, we'll throw up some 50-50s, and that'll be a better conversion rate than what they've had in the last 4 or 5 attempts.
Yeah, I think from Poland, looking probably again for that D-line offense. So once they manage to turn the Spanish to have that calmness about them, to be able to put the disc in. Not necessarily in a particular tactical way, although they have had more luck with those deep shots, but mostly just to be able to treasure the disc enough to be able to convert Ds into points, because they're certainly able to get the D, but unable to convert at this stage. So Spain set up with a horizontal, and Poland once again clamming. Big early swing into the unmarked player. Spain hesitating then, and there's no mark, so he's got time. But it gives Poland a chance to reset their defense.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an aggressive swing. It was more of a cross-field blade to open up the pitch, which I think they need to do more of, this Spanish side, their D-line offense. Be more aggressive with their throws. Almost throwing players open.
There's been a consistent a deep poach from Poland in this point, which has meant that it seems to consistently be a Spanish player that's open under, so it makes it difficult for the rest of the Polish team to be able to match up if there's always a switch.
Ricardo with some nice give-go action here. This could be a big break opportunity for the Spanish, keeping their cool. Igor de Prado. And a great goal for the Spanish. That's an upwind break after a monumental point. 2 timeouts, but it's the Spanish that win that battle.
Indeed, you can see the energy levels vastly different between the two teams now. That mental energy that you get from winning a long point can really carry you through a game, and it'll definitely be up to Poland to be able to raise their energy levels and raise their game in general to be able to play themselves back into this game. I don't see the Spanish letting up once they're ahead now. They're definitely in a much more comfortable position to allow them to play solid again. Playing that solid short ball will really frustrate Poland and make it difficult for them to get those blocks.
Francisco Romano with the goal for Spain. Now, tough one for Poland. They got to go upwind on offense now. We see that actually it seems like the Spanish O-line, or at least the players, are predominantly playing downwind offense, coming out to the field now. So it'll be Juan Carlos Fernandez to pull for the first time in this game.
So a nice bladey pull there through the legs of the Polish player. Lovely IO swing there. Big shot from Poland, but it's a bladey roller that came out all sorts of wrong. It gives Spain another opportunity for a break here. They're currently 10-6 up.
Yeah, after your D-line, gets that monumental upwind break, you feel like this line, essentially their O-line playing defense, could come and get 2 in a row. That's what you want them to do. It's a big opportunity to do that, going downwind. This line that's been so solid. One of the players staying out there is the goal scorer from the previous point, Francisco Romano. He swings to Unai, who takes a shot. Looks like it's going to be caught in the back of the end zone. That is a feathery flick and a great goal for Diego Lorenzo Jimenez. With a head spike. Not something you see too often. It's now the Spanish who are stretching their lead against this Polish side, 11-6. Using my maths from earlier, Poland losing to Ireland 15-1, Spain losing to Ireland 15-5. That should be a 4-point game, is what I was thinking.
It's a sensible approach there, Liam.
But a much bigger lead. Now they are 5 points up against the Polish, this team from España.
Yeah, I think that perhaps Spain would be disappointed in their performance against Ireland and therefore looking to increase that lead in this game. Poland clearly disappointed in their performance against Ireland earlier. 15-1 is not something that they will reminisce on in any way. But I think they have played better in this game. Still a bit of a way to go if they're going to be winning games and getting into the top half of this draw. So a flat ball from Spain allows Poland to move quickly. Michał Dul on the disc. Looks for a big shot here. Lovely floating disc. Can it get chased down? Beautifully chased down there by number 22, Krzysztof Wątroba. So yeah, Poland winning those deep shots, but they've got to be able to have the opportunity to take them. And so defense again for them is going to be key to get that turn. And those deep shots are much easier downwind than they are upwind. So we'll have to see how they can progress on the upwind offense if they can get the turn on this next point.
Yeah, I'd just like to see them throw deep more. I don't know if that's me as a commentator looking to be entertained, or I think it's the most suitable offense for them in this particular game. But when they've taken it, it's worked a lot of the times, I think, more so than their small ball offense. But yeah, Liam Grant alongside Luke Tabajzovic. I think I'm doing an okay job of your pronunciation of your name. There's a more Polish approach to it, is there?
There is. Well, that was a fantastic English interpretation. The Polish approach would be Tobiaszewicz.
Tobiaszewicz? I'm going to stop. I'll stick to the English one, Getting too cocky now, or confident in my terrible attempts to pronounce Polish names. Here's the name, Norbert, 34. But I'll take the pull for Poland. I'm just going to call him by his first name. Don't know if Norbert's a popular name in Poland.
It is not. I don't know where it's come from. Perhaps there's a mixed heritage there that is giving him that very English name, I'd say.
Do you ever remember that TV show Dilbert? Did you ever see that? This has come flying back to my mind. Norbert, yeah, it's...
Dilbert rings a bell as a cartoon in England. There's a series of newspaper cartoons. So Poland once again with the zone defense here, trying to frustrate the quick Spanish play, which tends to work quite well until they get the quick gainer downfield, at which point Spain seem to rip through it. So we'll see if Poland can adjust their containment of the Spanish offense to stop that from happening.
Yeah, what was a very trappy cup defense has transitioned to a match very quickly. Better transition from the Polish here. But again, the Spanish, their break throws are just, I think that's probably the big difference between these two sides, is the ability to break the mark, keep the disc moving from the Spanish, and again, attacking that front corner. Great goal from the Spanish. You can see the Polish side frustrated. They're doing a lot of hard work and defense, but they cannot get the disc off the Spanish side.
Yeah, I think in that transition, they went to man, they stuck with man for a few passes, and then one of the Polish players poached off in the lane, which really opened up the ability to break easily to a Spanish player and then move the disc across again quickly. So perhaps sticking with that match defense once it's called will reap more rewards for Poland. But yeah, the energy sapping Sun in this instance, I think, is really grinding down on the Polish team mentally, and means that they really have to find it within themselves to bring themselves back up and into this game. The Polish crowd in the stands giving it a good shot when the opportunity arises, but it's hard to maintain that level of enthusiasm through an entire game. So currently it is, I believe, 12-7 here to Spain against Poland in the men's division at the European Ultimate Championships in Győr, Hungary.
Győr.
Currently 38 degrees above and below on this turf field.
Let's see if Poland try and set up that deep shot again. Instead, taking the easy unders now.
And the deep shot's gone. Unfortunately, just overthrown there into the back corner.
Yeah, I think that option was on, and he had space when the disc went up, but just overshot by a couple of yards or so. And I'm a big fan of telling teams if you're throwing a hucks downwind, try and land them in the end zone, which kind of sounds silly, but put them super high and floaty, and if they wobble down, and you know, a lot of time if you have the deep position going downwind, you can box out really well and just allow the disc to fall down in front of you. Better to give your receiver the chance. If they have the sky for the goal, that's okay, but throwing out of bounds, well, they can never catch it.
No, it's always a sad disc that floats off the side or the back of the pitch. But Spain, once again, with a lot more energy than Poland, it seems. Really pushing for that quick offense.
I'm wondering how hot their feet are on this turf pitch. My memories of playing turf pitch and these hot conditions, like your actual shoes feel like are going to be on fire. Shout out to Tokai Ultimate Cleats, who are one of the sponsors of this event. They have a stand set up. Great to be supporting European entrepreneurs as Spain get to work on the front corner of this end zone. Another great goal, upwind this time. Alvaro Iturramendi now with a 5-point lead again.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Alvaro Iturramendi catching the disc in the end zone. Very dainty feet to keep his feet within the lines just then, and with a couple of the other points. So Spain still using that short play all the way through the game and all the way through the pitch, from one end to the other.
I think Alvaro Iturramendi is the only man wearing the 5-panel capped hat, which has become popular these days. Are you a hat man, Luke?
Not enough to know what the difference between a 5-panel and any other hat is. I'll give you that.
You ever seen? Okay, it has 5 panels is the key giveaway to the 5-panel hat. More kind of a retro style that's become back into fashion.
I see.
You can talk to Alvaro about it. But I never wear hats. My hair is too beautiful.
Don't want to hide it away. My hair is currently growing, and
as hair tends to do.
It does indeed. It does okay. It does indeed. I think my straw polling of whether people prefer me with long hair or short hair, the long hair is currently winning out. So I'm pleased with my decision making so far. So Poland here with possibly the last couple of opportunities to really showcase what they've got. On offense, they're looking for a quick, clean put away. Staszek Grywalski on the disc now, puts up the longer disc, floating a little short, but great read there by the Polish player, who keeps calm, managed to get a swing off, and a lovely left-handed flick around the force. Number 16 there, Jan Staniewicz, pumped to be able to put that disc into the end zone and keep Poland in the game for the moment.
Yeah, Jan Staniewicz has had a great game for this Polish side. The lefty handler, we saw him with some big boomy backhands, that time using his flick to get around the mark and get the goal there. Again, we see the deep shot. He ended up having to come under to get the disc, but they're winning a lot of those matchups, the Polish. And that's the case of, look, he threw it in bounds. It ended up being not so good throw, but the receiver was able to make a play in it. And yeah, that low release flick. I find often if you're used to marking right-handed players, you're going to be throwing your foot out for those, and it's quite a lot. You mark a left-handed player, it's almost your force isn't ready for that throw sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching I was scorekeeping some of the women's games earlier today and yesterday, and a couple of the lefty handlers were absolutely destroying marks in that game with big flicks and big arounds that just look spectacular because you're not used to seeing them come out, perhaps, and really open up the game. So definitely dangerous players. Timeout here from Spain, I believe, to basically keep cool heads, make the most, and try and end the game. I think they'll be looking to see out the last two offensive points.
Yeah, the game's to 15 here at EUC 2019. EUC 2015, which actually commented out as well. That was games to 17 back then.
And we won't go back into the annals where games were to 21.
Whoa.
Back at some of the first World Championships and lasted a very long time.
Yeah, that sounds painfully awful, particularly in games which are lopsided. But the Polish side still hanging with this Spanish team.
Spain with a 5-point lead. Every break has been accumulation of their short, quick play. We've seen them do very well in this game. Poland struggled to find a defense that will consistently turn the Spanish. And when they have turned them, they haven't found an offense from that defensive line to consistently put it away. So perhaps some inspiration after the timeout. A great pull here by Poland. Landing it inside the back of the end zone. It slides out the back, but will give the Polish team a chance to set up one of their closest defensive setups here on Spain.
Pablo Dorta Alberto walking the disc to the line, wearing the 91 jersey. Year I was born in, and actually sometimes was the reason I wore that number. Don't know if he's the same age as myself. As they move it to Unai. And again, zone look from the Polish. Seems like almost a little bit of an arrowhead, but hard to tell at times. How would you interpret this Polish zone?
So it is an arrowhead, I think. They have quite an active up deep there, really getting involved to try and stop the Spanish quick play through the middle. And I think this is their most effective zone so far. They've done a good containment job, pushing Spain back and not allowing them to get that quick play on after the break. But Spain calmly handling here at the back, resetting the disc frequently, keeping the stall count high. Low, I should say. And now some incisive play from Spain up the middle. Again, that quick break that we've seen. And this is where it's key for Poland to show what they can do to recontain. So Poland sticking with the zone. Spain again being pushed back here, so Poland doing better at containing their breakthroughs.
Yeah, it seems like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back for the Spanish. Have gone forward and back in this field, and now the drop.
Enough passes there, and Poland are able to generate a turn. So this will now be Poland's chance to get a break back from Spain. A big deep cut coming out early on. Once again, Poland trying to leave themselves lots of space to play in, whether it's deep or under. Very different style to the Spanish. Give themselves lots of room for swings. Big swing across now, and looking to put it into the end zone. Ooh. Little break there, and Poland score. So I think this is the cleanest, best offense we've seen from the Polish defensive line. Late on in this game, generating a turn through consistent pressure on the Spanish, and then really being quite clinical about putting into the end zone.
Yeah, first time I've really seen the Spanish make a drop in that kind of zone offense. They were looking good for a while, started at the front of their own end zone, went back, went forward, went back. But look, if you force a team to make 30, 40 passes, every now and again a player is going to do something like that and drop it. So that's one style of defense, is force your opposition to take lots of passes.
Yeah, and at this late stage in the game, on a hot day when Spain have no timeouts left, seems like a sensible tactic to me.
I think for Spain right now is just focus on their offensive points. Make sure that their offensive line is fit and ready to play, that they can take the breaks they need and just go bang their offense. That's all they have to do. They don't have to break to win the game anymore. And it's about 86 minutes on the clock. It's 100-minute games, but I think it's likely we'll get to 15 before that.
Barring a big Polish comeback, I think you're right, Liam.
We can only hope, Luke. We can only hope.
I'll be scorekeeping on this field after this game, so I'm not rushing off anywhere, luckily. But it looks like, yeah, smooth Spanish offense. Really quick play through the middle. Big disc across field to an open player. Spain just outside the end zone now. Popping it out. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a bladey throw that gets killed by the wind. Spain a bit lackadaisical there, I feel, about their offense.
Yeah, I think there's 2 players free and open that disjointed neither of them. I think almost the Polish defense had half given up there. They saw there was a free option, thought it was going to be executed well, but a gift horse for the Polish. They want to be looking this one in the mouth. They need to get breaks back on the board. Playing a vertical stack, and the Spanish lads putting a bit of a clam on.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a big disc here from Michał Dul. Lovely IO break and continuation by Poland all the way across the field. Michał Dul is streaking long, not seen by his Polish handler, so he'll be coming back here. Oof. Little fumble of the hands there from the Polish player. Dul on the disc. Ooh, bit of a foul there from the Spanish player. Ended up mounting the Polish player.
Yeah, a bit of romance here on the turf fields.
All good-natured though. Uncontested foul.
See the end of that unfortunate collision, but it is Dul back with the disc.
Lovely IO into space there for Dul. And they continue down the break side to Albert Nowakowski, my teammate from the Polish beach mixed team that competed at Portimao earlier. And Poland putting the break in for another score.
Yeah, not going down without a fight this Polish side. Just 3 points beat them now, so that is a big break for them. As we see the GB women's side warming up before their big game coming up next against the Finnish. That's going to be a cracker of a game.
Absolutely. I think Spain looking a little tired coming to the line now, trying to reset their heads. No timeouts left for them, so they'll have to find the time between points to get themselves back in this and get their offense focused. Poland clearly looking to capitalize as much as possible in this late stage.
Alti.tv.
Game time is approaching the 95th minute. No, approaching the 90th minute, I should say.
Shout out to our Ulti.tv crew hanging out here in the heat. A lot of dedication from the camera crew, production. Flawless as always.
The wind just picked up now, blowing a whole lot across the field. Our umbrellas are looking a little unsteady, but we'll see what effect this might have on the end of this game.
Yeah, the wind picking up now for the Spanish as they have to try and go upwind, so this probably favors the Polish a little bit. And maybe this is their umbrella style zone. No.
No, it's not.
I'm trying to squeeze in an umbrella reference. Nice segue.
Would have been nice if they could have done that for us, right, Liam? Sadly, don't have too much influence on the choice of tactical play. Spain relatively calm here with short ball through the middle of the zone. Broken through now.
Just going for the little Mary Poppins there. Lots of little short passes in a small area.
Poland sticking with the zone and forcing a throwaway there on the swing pass by Spain. So once again, Poland getting more joy towards the end of this game with their zone play. I don't think it's vastly different from what it was earlier, but more mistakes from the Spanish creeping in and giving Poland a look.
Maybe the Spanish had already started their siesta a little too early. Had a big lead, but Poland looking to make this a 2-point game as we go into the last stretch, and they're playing with a little more swagger now.
Lovely swinging play from Poland there. Unfortunate drop there from Jesus. Number 34, Norbert. And Spain picking up quickly to move before Poland can have a chance to set their zone.
But Ricardo the quick pick, but a lot of players behind him when he picked up that disc, and they weren't really hustling to get in front of it.
Once again, Poland not quite as active in this zone as previously, and so Spain have a lot more time to just pop these passes in. A travel called, I believe, on one of the passes.
The Polish women's side in the grandstand there cheering on their countrymen. They had a big win against Sweden earlier on in the tournament, I believe.
They did indeed. I was scorekeeping, and it was a fantastic game to watch. The first half was tight, and Poland pulled ahead right at the very end to take the half 8-7. And then the second half tight all the way through, and only taking a 3-point lead at the end of the game to win 15-12. The Spanish here managing to put this point away after a couple of turns, and Poland a little frustrated that they had the opportunity but weren't able to take it. So 1 point for Spain to close this game out, 5 points for Poland to attempt to catch up. The statistics are clearly in Spain's favour here.
Yeah, I feel that was almost won them the game, that upwind score from the Spanish. Poland so close to getting another break in a row and making a 2-point game, but now, you know, Poland has to now go upwind to try and score their offense. It is game point for the Spanish. Next time they score, they'll win presuming that Poland don't score 5 on the trot now.
So Poland will have to do something they haven't done yet this game in order to win it.
That is a flick ball.
It's going to roll nicely. Ooh. Poland with a side stack, looking to capitalize on the space. Flooding play, working out nicely for the Poles so far. Big shot up to the end zone now. Ooh, great read there by the Spanish defender.
Diego Lorenzo Jimenez with the big sky. Great battle in the air, very clean for both players as well, and they just drop it immediately, unfortunately, the Spanish. That was a possession to win the game.
Poland with a quick pickup now. Lovely shot into the end zone. Jimenez not able to get the D that time. And Poland take themselves 1 point closer.
You know, it's Jan again. We see him do the exact same flick to the front corner, the lefty player. He just wanted that throw. You can see when he first picked it up, he's almost looking to that space, waiting for someone to make a move there, and just throws it out there. A tight little window.
So Spain once again with an upwind point to attempt to win the game. 5 minutes! 5 minutes!
Yeah, there'll be only one Phoenix rising from the flames here in this hot pitch 2 at the European Ultimate Championships. Early days for both these teams, but it's likely they'll be going into the lower pools with a small chance of progressing. They want to carry a win into that if things go how I predict them to. So that was an upwind hold for the Polish.
So last time Spain were going upwind, they had a turn. Poland had their shot into the end. An unfortunate drop gave it back to Spain, who then had a much easier time on the second possession of working it into the end zone. So we'll see what defense Poland come out with here, trying to keep themselves in the game. Michal Dol with a big rolling pull.
And you know, for the most part, I thought Spain had O&D lines, but I'm starting to think maybe they have upwind down lines, downwind lines. Is pretty much every upwind point Ricardo's been on, and you get a out of jail free card there, the Spanish. And we do see another zone look from the Polish, which has worked a lot better in the latter half of this game.
So that play through the zone is really killing Poland. Opens things up for Spain to be able to play quickly.
Yeah, very little pressure on Ricardo right now.
Yeah, while Poland can contain them and force them to throw around, and they are forcing a lot of throws, which is good for them.
Low disc, well gathered by Unai.
Incisive play through the middle here.
And it's Marco Bianchini, just find those gaps, give the pop pass off. And that is the winning goal for España. They take the big win against the Polish side in a very tight grudge match. I'm not sure if there's a call being made, but most of the Spanish side celebrating. Ricardo's still having the chats, but what's your takeaways from that game, Luke?
I think that Spain played a much more consistent offensive game. They clearly have a sort of a well-drilled short ball game that is very effective. I think Poland had moments where they were able to force those turns, but they were rarely turns that they picked up. There were more turns where they forced an error by Spain. So when Spain's concentration was high, it was much more difficult to do that. And Spain, once they got a lead, the comfort that gave them to continue playing as they were meant that they could play that slower short ball game without worrying about the scoreline so much.
Yeah, I think it was the clinical handling and break marks from the Spanish that saw them through this game. Fair play to them. We have lots more great ultimate coming up for you. We have Finland women versus GB women next on this field, so stay tuned for that. It'll be me, Liam Grant and Hannah Peddlebury. But for us now, we'll say bid you adieu to a great game. Luke Tobizovic and Liam Grant. I messed it up that time, didn't I? It was bad.
It was good. It was good.
It was good. It was good. It was good. Yeah, Liam Grant and Luke
Tobizovic signing off.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Alti.tv